Hey everyone, it's Esmond. Welcome to the Games Haven channel and welcome back for another Deck Tech episode. This is the Friendly versus Powerful series where I built two builds of the same commander, one with a friendly build and one in a powerful build. So comparing two different power levels and seeing what exactly are the differences. So today we are talking about Tovolar, Dyer, Overlord, the new Werewolf Lord, a legend from the new Innistrad Midnight Hunt set, and this commander was voted on by patrons to be featured in this episode. So if you want to go support the channel and check out the Patreon page, you can influence the content we make there. You can join us for webcam games. Go check out that link. Otherwise, please don't forget to subscribe and like if you enjoyed this series, and just leave a comment below. Let me know, what kind of what other commanders you'd like to see or what other content you'd like to see on this channel. Alright, so let's talk about Tovola, Dyer, Overlord, the new Gruul legend that cares about wolves and werewolves. Whenever they deal combat damage to a player, we draw a card, and he gives us a way to transform our werewolves. So if we control 3 or more wolves and or werewolves at the beginning of our upkeep, we can transform any number of human werewolves we control. And he transforms as well into Tovola, the Midnight Scourge. A 4/4 with the same static, but we get another activated ability to give a wolf or werewolf +X/+0 and trample, which is important because he wants us to deal combat damage. So the first build we're going to go through is the friendly build. This is targeted to be slightly more powerful than a precon. It's going to be a bit more focused in terms of the theme and the flavor. So we're going to focus a lot on wolves and werewolves and dealing combat damage in order to draw cards. So it's a very simple deck. The game plan is basically to just play wolves, play werewolves, and somehow find a way to deal combat damage to our opponents in order to draw cards. Alright, so this is the build Tovola Wolves Galore. And he is looking to play a lot of wolves and werewolves, get a bunch of them out and then transform them. So this might take some time because I will go through the flip side of the cards as well. But the first category we have here is the pack. So these are all the wolves and werewolves, and you can see there are a lot of low cost creatures here so that we can get them on the field before our commander comes in so that they can attack and we can draw cards off Tovola. So Fearless Pup with First Strike, very important there, letting us sometimes maybe get through for damage. Deranged Whelp with Menace, the same thing. Duskwatch Recruiter lets us find creatures, put them into our hand, and it flips into Krellan Horde Howler, letting us some mana advantage for our creature spells. Then Keswick Forge Master, making it quite difficult to block, and on the flip side, pretty much the same thing, Flameheart Werewolf. Then we have Keswick Naturalist, a new one from Midnight Hunt as well. So it gives us mana on the human side, and on the flip side it becomes a lord for our wolves and werewolves and also gives us mana. So you notice that on the flip side the things are stronger in general, so that's where we want to try and keep them as much as possible. Mars Vandal here, a changeling in pretty much every single tribal deck that has green right now, letting us destroy artifacts and enchantments. Then we have Maya of Avabrook. The human side is a human lord, and on the flip side it becomes another werewolf and wolf lord that also makes wolf tokens. So a very powerful card in this deck. Then Outland Liberator, a new one in Innistrad as well, letting us hit artifacts and enchantments on both sides actually. So the flip side is of course much stronger because it has an attack trigger that can destroy target artifact or enchantment. Then Scorn Villager on the human side adds 1 green, and on the flip side adds 2 green. Scourge Wolf, red for 2/2 First Strike, which can get double strike, so very strong in terms of getting through for damage. Then we have Werewolf Pack Leader, a new one from AFR, to draw cards when we attack. Breakneck Rider, quite a simple card on the human side, but on the flip side it gives our attacking creatures +1 and trample, also very important in terms of getting through for damage. Then we have Daybreak Ranger. So on the human side, it can hit creatures with flying, and on the flip side, Nightfall Predator helps us to fight target creature. Then we have Gaia Reach Bandit, a 3/2 with haste on the human side, and on the flip side, it's Vilden Pack Alpha. And this is important because when we play this, if we have this out and we play a werewolf, when it ETBs, we can immediately transform it. And like I said, we want to have the transform side most of the time. Next, we have Hound Tamer, another new one from Midnight Hunt. 4 mana to put a +1 counter on target creature on the human side, and on the flip side, it's Untamed Pup. And this is also very strong, giving our other wolves and werewolves trample, and also has the ability to pump them with +1 counters. Then we have Immerwolf, old one, and this has Intimidate. Other wolf creatures, werewolf creatures get +1/+1, and non-human werewolves you control can't transform. So this is important because All of the werewolves that can transform are human on the front side, but once they flip, they become non-human. So once they flip into their pure werewolf side, Immerwolf will stop them from transforming back. For example, with the Daybound, Nightbound trigger. And that's great because we want to keep them on the non-human side because those are more powerful. So Immerwolf, a key piece in this wolf and werewolf synergy deck. Then we have Cruin Outlaw continuing with our werewolves. 3 mana 2/2 first strike on the human side and becomes Terror of Cruin Pass. 3/3 double strike. Each werewolf you control can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures, so very powerful effect. Then Lampholt Elder. It looks super boring on the human side, but it becomes Silver Pelt Werewolf on the flip side of 4/5. When it deals combat damage to a player, we draw a card, so very strong. Then a new one, Primal Adversary from Midnight Hunt, a mythic, a 4/3 with trample. This one does not transform, it's just a wolf. When it ETBs, we can pay 1 green any number of times, and then it gets that many number of +1 counters, and then that many target lands become 3/3 wolf creatures with haste. So it makes more wolves out of our lands, fantastic. Then we have Pyreheart Wolf. When it attacks, each creature you control can't be blocked this turn except by 2 or more creatures. So we have a few of these effects so that it's more difficult for our opponents to block our wolves. Then we have Reckless Stormseeker giving our creatures +1 in haste, and it flips into Storm Charge Slasher, which does the same thing but adds 1 more power and trample. Then we have Silverfur Partisan. When they target something of ours, we get a 2/2 wolf onto the field. Then we have Ulrich's Kindred, helping us give our wolves or werewolves indestructible, but they have to be attacking. And then we have Anara, Wolvid Familiar, so giving our commander indestructible. And this is great, all these indestructible things help us to just swing in without fear of our creatures dying. Then we have Fangblade Brigand. On the human side, it's just super boring. But on the flip side, it becomes Fangblade Eviscerator with 2 activated abilities. It can get first strike, it can pump our creatures. So a pretty strong effect in, pumping our board. Then we have Huntmaster of the Fells. Gives us 2/2 wolf creatures and gives us life gain. And on the other side, it becomes Ravager of the Fells. Lets us do damage to our opponents and damage some creatures that they control. Then we have Instigator Gang, just pumping our attacking creatures on the front side, and on the back side becomes Wild Blood Pack. 5/5 trample, attacking creatures get +3 power, that's insane. And then Night Pack Ambusher, 4 mana 4/4 flash, another wolf and werewolf lord that gives us wolves if we don't cast anything. Then we have Somber Walled Alpha. When a creature gets blocked, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn, so once again making it difficult for our opponents to block our things. And we can also give our creatures trample. Then we have Sage of Ancient Lore. Power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in our hand. When ETBs, we draw a card, and then, just like the Ambusher, if we don't cast anything, it flips into Werewolf of Ancient Hunger. It has Vigilance, is trample, power and toughness equal to the total number of cards in all players' hands. So this could be huge. Then we have Village Watch, 4/3 with haste and the new Daybound, Nightbound mechanic. And on the flip side, it's Village Reavers, giving our wolves and werewolves haste. Then we have Assembled Alphas, to make it once again difficult for opponents to block. And finally, rounding off our wolves is Tovolar's Huntmaster. 6 mana, 6/6. When it ETBs, we get 2 wolves. And it flips into Tovolar's Pack Leader. When it attacks, we get the same trigger, which is to create 2/2 green wolf tokens. And it has 2 green, another target wolf or werewolf you control fights another target creature we don't control. So it does a ton of stuff. Alright, so that is the pack. Those are our wolves and werewolves. You see, we have a lot of things that can transform, and hopefully they stay transformed because the werewolves are strong. Then we have our Wolfie support. So these are cards that care about wolves or werewolves. Full Moon's Rise, giving them +1 and trample, and we can regenerate our werewolves. Moon Mist, instant speed, trick I guess. We can transform all our humans. Most of them are humans on the front side, and then we prevent all damage that will be dealt this turn by creatures other than wolves and werewolves. Then we have Ranger class, another new one from AFR. When it ETBs, we get a 2/2 green wolf token. And then when we attack, we can put a +1 counter on target attacking creature. And finally, at level 3, we can look at the top card of our library at any time. We can get card advantage from this. Then we have Waxing Moon, just transforming a werewolf and giving our creatures trample. We have Descendant's Path, which is one of the few tribal cards in here that actually work well because we don't actually have to name a creature type. As long as we reveal the top card of our library and it shares a creature type with a creature we control, we can cast it for free. So that is fantastic. Howlpack Resurgence, just another enchantment that is a lord for wolves and werewolves. It even gets trample. Then we have a new one, the Celestus, and this is a mana rock essentially, add 1/1 of any color, but we can also pay 3, and if it's night it becomes day, otherwise it becomes night, and we can only activate it as a sorcery, but helps us gain some life, helps us filter through our deck and transform our day-bound, night-bound wolves. Then we have 2 Arlinn Chords, 2 Planeswalkers here. So the first one just gives our creature +2/+2 Vigilance Haste, puts a wolf token on the field, and then it flips into Arlinn, Embraced by the Moon. Very powerful effects here, giving our creatures +1/+1 trample. It can deal 3 damage, it can get an emblem. And then we have Arlinn, the Pax Hope. This one is the new one with Daybound, Nightbound. It also makes tokens, and we can +1 to cast creatures as though they have flash with an additional +1 counter, but then it flips into Arlinn, the Moon's Fury, +2 add red-green, and the 0 effect, it becomes a 5/5 werewolf creature with trample, indestructible, and haste. So very strong with that second ability. Then we have Maskwood Nexus. This is kind of an engine for the deck because it makes all our creatures into all creature types. So all our Lord effects, everything that cares about a creature type, it turns on, and we can pay 3 mana, tap it, and make essentially another wolf or werewolf. Then we have Cult of the Waxing Moon to help us, whenever we transform a non-human creature, to get another wolf onto the field. And finally, we have another Arlinn here. This is the 6 mana one from War of the Spark. Helps us to just buff our wolves or werewolves when they ETB, and we can just minus it to get another wolf. Alright, so that's a lot of wolf stuff. Now we have to get in for damage in order to benefit off the commander. So first up, we have Dolmen Gate. Very simple, just prevents all combat damage to our attacking creatures, so we can just attack in essentially for free. Then we have Beastmaster Ascension to reward us for attacking. Then we have Goblin War Drums, and this makes it more difficult for our opponents to block because they must be blocked by at least 2 creatures. And then Rhythm of the Wild, making sure our creatures can't be countered, and also giving them either haste or a +1 counter. Then we have Gruul War Chant. Each attacking creature we control gets +1 and can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures, so similar to Goblin War Drums. Then we have Triumph of the Hordes, a classic infect finisher, giving our creatures +1/+1 and trample and infect. And Overrun, giving it +3/+3 and trample until end of turn. So these are kind of our pseudo finishers once we build up a huge board state. Alright, then we move on to just, a bit of a utility because we need some ramp, we want to be able to cast our big stuff, and then we want to protect our things with things like Heroic Intervention, Rapid Vigor, and we have 2 of the most flexible removal spells in these colors, Beast Within and Chaos Warp. So that's just a bit more flexibility, a bit of more utility for the deck. And finally, we move on to the lands. So we have the notable ones here. Cavern of Souls, making our creatures, uncounterable, but we do have to choose a creature type, so it's either wolf or werewolf, probably going to be werewolf. Then we have Faceless Haven, which is a land that can become a wolf or werewolf, and this is the reason why we are playing snow basics and snow lands in general. Then we have Keswick Wolfrun, giving our creatures Trample, Mutavault, another creature land that's a wolf. Path of Ancestry, letting us cry whenever we cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with our commander. And Skark, also giving our creatures Trample. And then we have a bunch of the MDFCs, so classic ones, to deal damage, to get recursion, to fight, and to dig for creatures. So that's it for the friendly build. These are the other lands, you can just replace them with whatever you want, really. And I've also added the cards that I would add in for the powerful build and the cards that I would take out from the friendly build. So if you want to take a look, you can just look through it. But now I will go through the powerful build. So in this powerful build, I am going to be really more focused on attacking, being more aggressive, finishing the game earlier, improving the consistency of the deck as well as the efficiency of the cards. So we do have to cut down on the number of wolves, but we are still going to be mainly a creature-based deck, and the game plan is to kind of be able to answer our opponent's threats using our creatures, be more of a toolbox kind of deck, but still have a bunch of wolves and werewolves in order to get card advantage from Tovola. Alright, so this is the powerful build Tovola Wolves and Friends, because it's not just wolves anymore, he needs to have some friends. And well, once again, we're going to start with everything to do with wolves. So we're going to see a lot of the similar cards, a lot of the key pieces. Maya is here, Immerwolf, we have Arlins and Huntmaster, Nightpack Ambusher. The key differences are that we have a few lower cost wolves like Timber Wolves and Wolf-Bitten Captive and Young Wolf. And these guys are just there so that we can get them on board as quick as possible in order to draw cards off our commander. And things like banding, things activated abilities, there's undying. So relevant keywords in order to get in for damage. But another difference is that we top out at 4 mana here. So we've cut out a lot of the more expensive casting cost spells in order to lower our curve and just be faster and more efficient. And we've replaced them with basically a creature toolbox. So we have removal in terms of fighting other creatures. We have protection with Destiny Spinner, so our creatures can't be countered. We have Graveyard Hate with Scavenging Ooze, Vexing Shasha, also making sure we resolve our things. We have Eternal Witness and Timeless Witness for more Graveyard Recursion, Manglehorn for Artifact Hate, Reclamation Sage, also Artifact Enchantment Hate, Oran Frostfang giving our attacking creatures Death Touch and giving us value in terms of card draw when our creatures deal combat damage to a player. And then we have our two big finishers in Crater Hoof Behemoth and Enrace Forerunners. So once we build up our board state, we can just find one of these guys and swing in for the win. And then we have a bunch of non-creature utility, so a Tutor with Green Sun Zenith, Graveyard Recursion with Noxious Revival, another Tutor, then we have Veil of Summer for protection, Worldly Tutor, Finale of Devastation, which is a Tutor, it can be Recursion, it can be a finisher as well, Heroic Intervention for protection, Sylvan Library for card draw, Tibalt's Trickery as a counter spell, Removal, Beast Within and Chaos Warp, then we have Chord of Calling, another Tutor, Deflecting Sword for more protection, Domri does a bunch of stuff, pumps our creatures, gives us mana, makes sure our creatures can be countered, and we can minus to fight with another creature. And then we have Jeska's Will for some pure advantage, giving us mana and cards, Rhythm of the Wild for more protection, Force of Vigor for destruction of artifacts and enchantments, Natural Order, a very good tutor to find a finisher, and Triumph of the Hordes as a backup finisher. Then we move on to the ramp. All I've done is added in a Chrome Mox here just to be a bit more faster, because we have cut a lot of lands in order to make up for the lower curve of the deck. Then we finish up the deck with a backup combo with Kiki Jiki and Combat Celebrant. So how this works, if you don't know, is that we get them both on the field and then Kiki Jiki immediately taps to make a token of Combat Celebrant with haste. We attack with that copy, exert it to get another combat step. So as long as our opponents don't have like a big indestructible creature that can block infinite Combat Celebrants one by one, for example, this will then just keep making Combat Celebrants that get in for damage, makes more combat steps, which untaps Kiki Jiki, making more Celebrants and giving us infinite combat damage from our infinite combat steps. So finally we have the lands, and the only differences here is that we have Ancient Tomb and Yavimaya to replace the other two MDFCs. So Ancient Tomb just for more ramp, Yavimaya to fix our colors, giving us green basically. But it's really up to you. In this more powerful build, I've put in all the off-color fetches as well, which can find either a forest or a mountain. But like I said, you can really just mix and match these cards however you want. This is just what I think is a good comparison between a friendly and a powerful build. I hope that you can kind of see the difference in terms of how I structure and build the deck. The friendly deck is really more about wolves and being more focused on the tribe, more focused on the flavor and theme, whereas the more powerful build has a lot more utility cards to interact with the opponents, to kind of find efficient ways to finish off the game, but we're still leveraging on the commander's ability to draw us cards. Alright, so that is the end of this friendly versus powerful deck. Tovola is really interesting. Midnight Hunt Innistrad is gonna be a pretty fun tribal kind of set, I feel, and I personally like tribal sets. I like tribal decks a lot. But let me know what you think of this deck. Did I miss out any cards that you would add in? Let me know in the comments below. What other commanders should I build? And if you enjoy this series, once again, please don't forget to subscribe and like. Check out the Patreon page if you want to support this channel. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.